button to be the select button. If item is selected, then we should probably perform some action. What action we should perform should depend on some other things. Here is a point where you have to write some custom code. So I'm going to make a new thing here, button callback handler or something. And I'm going to add a new preset here. Dialog type. Hero unit for our two libraries. We're going to have to store this somewhere, probably in here. Per player. Dialog type. Active dialog type. So we're going to go to the preset. And we're going to find our dialog type. There we go. Then obviously we need to set dialog type for the player. We can do that in a show function. So dialog type. It's just going to be preset. Dialog type. And we copy off this set variable. And we take the dialog type wherever I put it. Player active dialog type for the player that's passed in should be set to the parameter dialog type. Then in the data setup show here, we have to pass in here, it was hero, right. So button callback, if it's the button, we're just going to run the button callback handler. So we're going to run the button callback handler, and we're going to need to pass in the player, because we need to know which player pressed the button. Here you'll see another kind of bug. If you didn't have any parameters, sometimes it doesn't show up. You just have to click on something else. Alright, so player ID. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to avoid writing too much custom code inside this dialog. We're just going to write a simple switch in here that switches depending on the dialog type that we're currently set to. So here, if it's hero dialog showing, or if it's unit dialog showing. And then I will actually write the code for this. You can write it like you call up another action somewhere else. I'm just going to write it in here, since I'm freaking lazy. So out here, when the map starts, it's going to show the hero dialog. And I'm just going to copy this code and paste it here in the unit. Clear dialog for the player that has sent in here. Temp button. Temp button. And then we're going to need to do the unit added. Add list item. Get the unit name, text. There's a bit of a bug with the parameter name here. It says hero ID instead of unit ID, and player ID is not the thing I should use. I should use temp button. Selection dialog show for unit for the player ID. There we go. That should actually be done in the hero one, not in the unit one, obviously. Dialog. The second thing we should do when in this callback button. Anyway, let's just try this for now. This should actually work. We should actually have two dialogues now. So I can select the circling, hit select, and then I get this second dialog with the different kinds of units. And I can hit select, and obviously nothing happens because I didn't write the code for it yet. So let's write the code for it. I am a bit surprised that that was weird. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but when I clicked the select button on the second dialog, it unselected my current item. It's running the trigger for the unit dialog. Oops. It's running this trigger. Of course, here. Player ID. Bah. There we go. Okay. We're gonna copy of the dialog show, and I'm gonna make a dialog hide. So, oh wait. There we go. And we're just gonna hide it there. And inside this callback handler for the unit dialog, we're gonna call the dialog hide for the player ID, and inside the hide, we're gonna remove dialog type. Okay. So now we should have two selection dialogs in a row, where you can select whatever, hit select, comes the second one, hit select, and it should be disappearing, but it is not. And I am not quite sure why. Because this one is broken for some reason, because I changed the parameters and I didn't fix it. There we go. Sometimes you have to do stuff like this if you delete the parameter and so on. Let's try again. We can select a unit, hit select. We can select another unit, hit select, and a dialog goes away. And we're actually using the exact same dialog to display two completely different lists. Obviously, you are wondering probably right now how to get the data back from the dialog. Well, obviously you have the selected list item, so you can do whatever you bloody please with it. So I can just do, let's just do a simple, I'm just going to do a very simple create unit. One type, it's going to be hero library here for the hero callback. Index, selection dialog settings, selected item for the player, unit type, point will have to be random point in region, and the region is going to be entire map, so we'll have a unit spawning somewhere on the map. And do the same thing here, except for using the hero, we use the unit library, and we just spawn somewhere on the map. I'm not going to do how they appear on screen. You could figure that out yourself. I mean, it's just create a unit off screen or whatever. So I hit select, and I get the dialog button callback error. Lovely. I didn't get a mutalisk to spawn though. That was weird. So let's see. Could not get entry from parameter. Okay. That seems like fun. Let's just restart the map. See if it's a persistent error for, if it was a specific thing. Oh yeah. The second dialog works though. Fun debugging. Let's see what's wrong. Oh yeah. I need to do this before I wipe the dialog, obviously. else else it's not gonna work. So that's just me being stupid. Let's just get rid of this trigger debugging. Let's get a marine and colossus. And here we have our marine, and here we have our colossi. So it's working, and that's fairly cool, I suppose. That concludes this part, which was freakishly long, unfortunately. But if you want to create a proper, neat, functioning dialogue, yeah, it takes a while. So let's go through everything that we did here with the dialogue. I already went through the unit libraries in the past tutorial, so if you're wondering about them, just go watch that tutorial instead. I'm going to cover the dialogue here. Initialize